Here with blueandgold.com's finest, Tyler Horka, had a national championship game on Monday night here at the Westin Peachtree Plaza, I believe it is, national title game headquarters. Tyler, the anticipation has been building. The flow has been building as well all season long. It's a national title form already. A lot of folks obviously picking Ohio State. The spread's 8.5. Talk to me about how Notre Dame goes about pulling this thing off and hoisting the trophy on Monday night.
I think you use the blueprint and the game plan that you used to beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Yeah. You used to beat Penn State in the Orange Bowl. Notre Dame can win this game if it's a rock fight. I think that's what Notre Dame wants, to be quite honest with you. You look at Al Golden and that defense, that's kind of been their calling card all season. That's the strongest side of the ball for Notre Dame. If it's a shootout, Ohio State wins running away, right? You kind of saw that in the Rose Bowl against Oregon, where Oregon's an offensive-minded team, and that's the kind of the game that they want to play. They beat Ohio State that way in the regular season. But when Ohio State is firing on all cylinders, nobody wants to play that type of game with the Buckeyes. I think Notre Dame obviously knows that, and they're going to try to make this thing ugly. I think, go back to the Sugar Bowl and you go back to the Orange Bowl, first half of both of those games, there were points where you were like, can Notre Dame win this? Is the season over right here? Both times they found a way to win. Now, Ohio State, to do that against these guys, it's going to be a different deal. But if you're looking up in late second quarter and you have that thought, Ohio State's only winning 10-3? It's only 14-10 right now or something like that. I think that's right where Notre Dame wants to be, and it's a second half game. It's a fourth quarter game, and obviously the Irish haven't lost one of those since early September.
That's the thing. I keep going back to, like, if I'm Notre Dame, I get to the fourth quarter and it's a 3-point game, or we're down by 7, or whatever it is, and we're just within punching distance. I'm like, man, if I'm Ohio State, a team that, you know, they've turned it on obviously against Texas, but like you look at the 2 losses and kind of got a little tight against Michigan, got a little tight against Oregon, whereas Notre Dame, I mean, at the media days yesterday, they were like anything but tight, which I was curious to see. Like, they were loose.
Yeah,
like,
I want to talk about that a little bit, actually.
Yeah, tell me your thoughts
I literally
on that.
just wrote a column at blueandgold.com.
Check it out, blueandgold.com. Get logged in, please. All right.
It just feels like everyone is on Ohio State to the point where they don't even think it's a game. It's like a formality. Monday night's going to be a coronation of Ohio State. Ryan Day's going to get over the hump. Like, it's their time. But as someone who's covered Notre Dame for 15 games this season, there was only one game this year, we all know which one it was, Northern Illinois, where you're like, oh, this team ain't it.
Yeah.
Every other game this year, it's like Notre Dame is it, and I get it. There's a talent disparity in this game. Like, Ohio State has guys that Notre Dame does not. But I think there's a lot of heart that goes into games like this. Like, you have to go out there and win this game. And that's what I was saying. If it gets to the fourth quarter and it's a battle of, hey, not necessarily like who wants this more, but more who's going to make the plays to win it. I get it. Ohio State did that against Texas, but Texas kind of gifted. It was gift wrap,
in some
right?
ways, yeah. There were some moments where you're like, could Texas have? And I guess hindsight's 20/20, but like, we relive the second and goal from the 1.
Yeah.
And again, hindsight, I have no problem with the play call, but there's a lot of folks who have a case of like, hey, quarterback sneak it and maybe we'll get to the overtime and this game.
And here's the thing about that. Like, you know what Notre Dame's doing second and goal from the 1. They're going to run Riley Leonard straight ahead, and he's probably going to get in the end zone. By the way, you can do that with Jeremiah Love, too, and it probably works. Jadarian Price. So, like, everyone counting Notre Dame out, I think they're missing some of those things. Like, Notre Dame's personnel is also good. Again, not as great as Ohio State's, but it's a national championship roster if everything comes together. And that's what I'm kind of thinking is, like, it could come together in a way that pretty much everyone is not predicting.
And I keep going back to this, like, yes, Notre Dame's, talent deficit or what have you. And again, I say this without gaslighting. Like, I did pick Ohio State to win this game, but I go back to this and I'm like, well, Notre Dame was also at a talent deficit against Georgia, was a talent deficit and a point deficit against Penn State, and it's 10-0 at half. And so there's so much there where I'm just like, it doesn't make sense. This Notre Dame team in a lot of ways doesn't make sense.
I completely agree.
Just keep finding a way to where I'm like, it wouldn't shock me if Notre Dame pulled it off. It wouldn't be the most surprising thing ever.
And that's why I've gone against the grain. Again, you can go to blueandgold.com and look at our predictions, score predictions. I've got Notre Dame winning this game.
So what's the score? What's the score going to be? I should have led with that. But what's the score going to be?
I've had Ohio State fans saying, how the heck is Notre Dame going to score this many points? I got 28-24.
Okay.
I think Notre Dame can get there with a defensive score, special team score. We've seen it in the playoff. Yeah. Jaden Harrison, kick return touchdown, Sugar Bowl. I think there is a special teams or defensive touchdown. And then once you factor that in, it's not that unrealistic for Notre Dame to score 21 points in this game. I get it. Only one team has scored 20-plus on Ohio State all season. It was Oregon twice. I think Notre Dame can find a way to do it. I really do.
Yeah.
It's what you're talking about, like the magic that you can't quantify. Just like, why does this Notre Dame team not make sense, but at the same time, it makes plenty of sense that they're here.
100%.
Maybe you only need that to happen, like to ride that out one more time.
If it makes you feel better, I have him scoring 26. I think Riley Leonard has his best day he's had all season long through the year. Why? Because this would be the spot to do it. Mike Denbrock's going to dial it up. They've got swagger, all those things. I want to go to the other side really quick, though, before we let you go. Notre Dame has been extremely transparent. We're going to play man coverage. You know we're playing man coverage. Everyone from Al Golden to Xavier Watts is saying during media days we're going to play man coverage.
Even the freshman corner, Leonard Moore, is like, we're playing man coverage.
No, dude. Jeremiah Smith, noted. Do you believe that? Are you 100% for 4 quarters they will stay in man, in your opinion?
I think they're going to play man 75% of the time.
Really?
Maybe even 80% of the time. It's what they do. It's why they're here. Like I said, only one time this whole season did we think, whatever Notre Dame's got going is not going to work. Every other game, and I get it, you can be in man or you can be one of the best passing defenses in college football if you're playing Army and Navy. But
sure, but still.
And people point to the USC game, and I don't know if I've given that enough credit, though. USC kind of torched these guys. Are we going to see that again, though? I think there's a chip on Notre Dame's shoulder from that, and that's why you're hearing all these players and coaches say, we're just going to do what we do and play man. So, to get back to your question, I do believe that that's what they're going to do because that is what they do. It's who they are.
Yeah, it's almost one of those things, too. We talked to Spencer Holbrook of Letterman Row from the Ohio State side, and he's like, it would also in some ways be disadvantageous to try to pivot in the most important spot, right?
I've seen, whether it be a late half situation or Al Golden doesn't like the garbage time points that they've given up, but Virginia had a touchdown where they just marched down the field. Why? Notre Dame was just sitting in a zone, and they were like, let's just get to the end of this half or get to the end of this game. They're not good at zone defense, to be completely honest with you. So I get that the matchup calls for it, but why would you do something that you're not good at and you're openly that's not who you are? Don't pivot, like you said. I like that word. Don't pivot. Play your game. If it's not good enough to beat Ohio State, well, I guess everyone was right. If it is, you won your way.
I lied to you. I said that was the last question, but you just sparked a thought I wanted to get your take on. Notre Dame wins it all. Confetti drops. It's blue and gold. Shout out blueandgold.com. Marcus Freeman's got it raining down on that beautiful hairline of his. The guy who turned down GQ to coach Notre Dame, I'm sure. What does that do to Notre Dame football? Because they're already, it feels like, what I say, breathing different oxygen. It's already flywheeling. But if you win the national freaking championship, what does that do to Notre Dame in the next 3 years under Marcus Freeman?
Validation. They are one of the premier programs in college football because historically that's always been the case, right? God Country, Notre Dame, it's all those things. When you think college football, it's Notre Dame. However, in the last, I guess you can say 3 decades, but really let's talk playoff era. It hasn't been Notre Dame. And they've made it a couple times, but it's Alabama, it's Clemson, it's Georgia, it's those teams. LSU had that magical season 5 years ago, 6 years ago. Notre Dame hasn't had that. If they win this game, that's it. That's the year that you can point to and say, yep, we're somebody in this playoff era. And then, like you said, spin it forward 3 years. Why can't they do it again? They're recruiting at a crazy level
you would think.
Under Freeman. You think the quarterback's going to be right, whether it's Steve Angeli, CJ Carr, anybody. I think the homegrown quarterback is going to play a huge role in this. And I get it, transfer quarterbacks are kind of the flavor of the month in college football. But I think Notre Dame's going to have a good quarterback, even if it's a homegrown guy. And if you get that right, there's so many other pieces about this Notre Dame team and program that are right that, you're looking at maybe a few more runs like this. And then that's the validation that I'm talking about. You can be in the same conversation with Georgia and Alabama, and people aren't shaking their heads.
And it's not a crazy thing to say. And it's not a crazy thing at all, especially after having beaten a Georgia on this playoff front.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Phenomenal stuff. Again, Tyler Horka, blueandgold.com. Lock in. What are you doing? The YouTube channel, over on the website. Get all of the best content around Notre Dame right on those platforms from Tyler and the entire team doing incredible work. Brother, appreciate all your time. Enjoy the game, and I'm sure we'll do it again soon.
Yeah, thank you. Can't wait for it.